Welcome to CEC Gurukul lectures. In the ongoing series of outcome-based education, this part of my lecture will be dedicated on the NAC registration process. IIQA, that is the Institutional Information on Quality Assurance, has to be prepared on the portal and it has all the important information for the institution to be accredited. This is like a dashboard for an institution. In the earlier accreditation process, that is the letter of intent and the institutional eligibility together. Now in the present revised accreditation framework, we call it as IIQA. Now important information has to be filed like the basic eligibility, affiliation compliances, basic profile, assessment and reassessment in the first cycle, the date formation of the institution, that is the mandatory requirement is that the institution must be established with a minimum years of 6 years and the date of at least 2 graduate batches. Now we can see on the screen this is a step-by-step accreditation process. So let us see these steps, and these are of vital importance for all the type of HEI registration process for the purpose of accreditation. Now the first thing is that you have to get yourself registered and you need to have your AISHE ID, the IIQA registration using the 2-window system. Then if the system is rejected, you will be allowed at least 2 attempts more times with the same fees. The next is that you need to submit your SSR report within 45 days of the registration process is done. As far as the registration process is done, this is a self-study report which has 2 parameters, one is quantitative and the other is a qualitative parameter. The step-by-step accreditation process, after you submit the SSR report within 45 days, so the SSS, that is the quantitative parameters, that is 10% for 100, and DVV, that is quantitative for 30 days. There is a pre-qualification that you need to have at least 30% of the system generated score. So if you have a system generated score of 30%, only then you are eligible for the peer team visit and the further process of accreditation. Now moving forward, if you get 30% of the SGS system generated score, either you are passed or you are failed. If you are passed, then you are allowed to have a peer team visit report within 90 days, that is 3 months. And if you fail, that is you don't have 30% of the SGS, you need to apply again with a fresh payment of IIQA for all types of fees. Now as far as the peer team visit is concerned, so it comes within 90 days with the quantitative and qualitative parameters, the calculation of the CGPA and the declaration of result. So this is a step-by-step accreditation process. So let us move forward with the latest notifications and the system, which makes a special mention here because we are discussing the accreditation system. The Executive Committee in its 77th meeting held on 10th August 2017, it resolved that in view of the paradigm shift in the assessment procedure from a complete on-site assessment to a combination of online and on-site assessment and evaluation, the grading system will be adopted for the institution under the revised accreditation framework. So the range of institutional cumulative grade point average, that is CGPA, and the point average and the letter grade status. So we can see on the screens that we have the various categories which are mentioned here. The first is 3.51 to 4, that is A++. So the accreditation is done with the highest level of scores, that is A++. Then we have 3.26 to 3.50, that is A+. This results into also the accreditation of the institutions. Then we have 3.01 to 3.25 you get a grade of A and the result is also accredited. Then we have 2.76 to 3, that is B++, the result is also accredited. Then we have 2.0 to 2.50, that is the grading B and the result is also accredited. Followed by 1.51 to 2, we get a grade of C and we are also accredited. The institutions getting less than equal to 1.50, you get a D grade, and the answer is that you do not get accreditation status and the result is not accredited. So, let us talk more in detail about the self-study report. The institutions can start filling the SSR information once the institution is able to log in the portal and after you receive an email from the admin NAC. Institutions will start uploading the information once the IIQA is accepted by NAC and the institution has to upload within 30 days of the email and the acceptance of IIQA. The institutions has to be ready with all the information, the student survey satisfaction, data template, etc. Now let us do this IIQA application. The IIQA application, the institutions will be informed within 15 days. Either the result is that you get accepted or you are rejected. If you are rejected, 2 more consecutive times with the same fees in a year is allowed. Now let us see after acceptance what happens. After the acceptance, the profile of the institution, the extended profile of the institution, the SSR including the quantitative and the qualitative matrix and the executive summary. All these have to be done within 45 days. You have to have the SR submissions readiness. Go through the NAC manuals and the guidelines because the process of accreditation, uploading, completing the SSR is not easy. You need to, because there are separate manuals for all the various categories of the institutions which are getting accredited. We have a separate manual for the universities, separate manual for the autonomous colleges and the separate manual for the institutions which are affiliated or constituent colleges having 1 PG courses, number 2 not having PG courses, only the UG courses are run. So, you need to be ready with your documentation, with the reading of your manuals. You need to have a complete understanding of the system, understanding of the matrix, data submission both quantitative as well as qualitative. You need to upload the relevant documents. Selection of non-applicable matrix are not to be touched upon, and the reference of the standard operating procedure has to be in play. You cannot deviate the type of information which has to be uploaded in the various format. Complete format, everything is being standardized by NAC and is to be validated after the information is inputted in the SSR by the DVV department. So, definitely it's not a one-time process. Once you upload the information, it is being validated and the DVV department can also ask the institutions to give clarifications on the data which has been uploaded. So, you need to introduce a system called a system generated score with a combination of online evaluation, that is 65.2%, and the peer team judgment about 34.8%. So, it's all about 70-30 process. In totality. In introducing the element of the third party validation, that is the data validation and the verification department of data and possibly of the roping in multiple agencies, in providing the appropriate differences in the matrix, weightage and the benchmarking to the universities, autonomous colleges and affiliated and the constituent colleges. There has to be a strong participation of the students and the alumni in the process of accreditation and assessment. So, let me give the insights about the basic 7 criteria. They are the deep basis of A&A process of HEI institutions which is valid and common for various types of institutions which are getting the status of accreditation, be it a university, be it an autonomous college, and be it a constituent or an affiliated colleges having UG or PG respectively. So the first is your curriculum aspects. Number 2, teaching, learning and evaluation. The third talks about research, innovations and extensions, followed by fourth is your infrastructure and the learning resources. Fifth talks about student support and progression. The sixth talks about the governance, leadership and management. And the seventh is your institutional values and the best practices. Now let us talk about the key indicators which have been introduced under the revised accreditation framework. The first is your teacher profile and quality, student satisfaction survey, innovation ecosystem, alumni engagement, institutional values and the social responsibilities, institutional distinctiveness. Now if you see all the key indicators which have been introduced under the revised accreditation framework, they are all focusing the student-centric learning, the student 360-degree development, be it their profile, satisfaction, are they happy with the present setup or the teaching pedagogies of the teachers. Also, whether the institution gives them ample opportunities to do some innovations. Also, the employee and alumni engagement programs, so that even if you leave the organization, the ties are always there, because the alumni engagement is the huge power, because it is not the work, it is the network nowadays, which is very, very important. Followed by what are the value system for the institutions, what kind of social responsibilities are they playing. So it is about a 360-degree development of the education, that is the outcome-based learning, the benchmarking, raising the quality standards, institutional distinctiveness, all these matters a lot. We are talking about the first parameters, that is the teacher's profile and quality. This is of prime importance, because if the teachers are not updated, their quality is not improved time and again, they do not attend the faculty development programs, they are not working on their development, how can they give the students the best education? So it is very important for the education institutes to provide ample opportunities for their teachers respectively, so that they can also grow in terms of the quality standards. And also it gives a say, that is when you talk about the student satisfaction survey, it is all about giving a voice to the students, that yes, we are happy with the institution, we are happy with the kind of the work the institution is giving them, the kind of the growth opportunities, the career development opportunities which the institution is giving. And nowadays we are into the the innovative system, ecosystem. We are talking about Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0 is also in the pipeline. So when you are talking about the AI and IoT, etc., so definitely the higher education institutes have to be in sync with the placements and about the industry demand as far as the academia and the institution tie-ups are concerned. So we have to equally talk about the innovation, we have to equally talk about the institutional distinctiveness, that what special features are there in the institutions, how differently you are placed, are you able to fulfill your mission and vision, and down the line for the next 5 years, what are your plans, what are you trying to move on. So now is the time to talk about the matrix, that is the quantitative as well as the qualitative, in detail. The first is your curriculum aspects criteria. For the universities, we have about 7 quantitative and 2 qualitative aspects. If you compare it with the autonomous, again we have 9 and 2, followed by affiliated we have 9 and 3. So QN talks about the quantitative, which are on the screen, and QL is all about the qualitative parameters, which are mandatory compliance for the NAAC accreditation and assessment process. Number 2, teaching, learning and evaluation. We have 18 quantitative matrix and 5 QLs, 18 for autonomous, 6 qualitative metrics for autonomous. For affiliated colleges and constituent colleges, we have 14 quantitative and 9 qualitative metrics. There is a little difference between the number of quantitative metrics and the qualitative metrics if you talk about the different graded, that is the university, autonomous and affiliated colleges are concerned. The third is your research, innovation and extension. There are about 29 quantitative metrics and 7 qualitative metrics. Out of the 7, the highest number of quantitative metrics is in the criteria number 3, that is the research, innovation and extensions. 28 autonomous for the quantitative metrics and 2 qualitative metrics. In affiliated, we have 14 and 2, followed by the infrastructural and the learning resources. We have 11 quantitative and 7 qualitative, 10 in case of autonomous, 6 in case of qualitative metrics in autonomous, and in affiliated if you talk about 10 and 6. So more or less in autonomous and affiliated colleges, the quantitative and the qualitative parameters are almost the same, whereas there is one more in case of the university. So let us talk about the 5, 6 and 7 criteria and what matrix it has as far as the qualitative and the quantitative parameters are concerned. In case of student support and progression, it is 12 quantitative and 3 qualitative, 13 in case of autonomous and 2 qualitative in case of autonomous. In affiliated and constituent colleges, it is 13 and 2. The next is your governance, leadership and management. There are 7 quantitative parameters and 12 quantitative parameters in case of university, 7 and 12 in case of autonomous and 8 and 10 in case of affiliated colleges. In case of institutional values and the best practices, we have 12 quantitative, 8 qualitative, 13 and 8 in case of autonomous and 13 and 8 in case of affiliated colleges. So all these parameters, they are exclusive of the student satisfaction survey. Now NAAC has also given us very important and very crystal clear templates. We have to follow, fill the format accordingly. The MS Excel based tables seeking the details of the quantitative matrix, it is essential, absolutely essential to fill up only the format provided, that is we do not have to change the templates as per our requirements. We cannot even temper them. We have to strictly upload the filled information in its appropriate matrix in SSR only when the template is completed, and it facilitates in easy use of data validation department. Because the basic purpose of NAAC is what? It is one nation, one education policy and transparency and oneness. That is why the templates, the format, the matrix, everything has to be common for all types of institutions and strictly according to the format given by NAAC. Now you have to also give the executive summary of the HEI, that is the Higher Education Institute. Every HEI which is applying for accreditation and assessment process shall prepare an executive summary highlighting the main features of the institution, including the introductory note of the institution, the location of the institution, the vision and mission, the type of the institution, and of course the preface has to be added. The criteria wise summary on the institution functioning is not more than 250 words for each criteria. Brief note on the strength, weakness, opportunity and challenges, in short we call it as SWOT, in respect of the institution is required. Any additional information about the institution other than one already stated. Overall conclusion, expectation about the institution functioning. The executive summary shall not be more than 5,000 words. So mind it, whatever you write it should not be exceeding 5,000 words. Next is your proceed to data validation and verification process. It is mandatory, and now the resulting time for the higher education institute. They can rest the post SSR submission. All the data information submitted is validated through the DVV process. So during that time, it is the resting time for the higher education institutions that they can rest till the time they get a mail of further clarifications. The verification is done using an online mechanism which generates a pre-qualifier score. The DVV process is a lot of elucidation process. If the institution have provided the incorrect information or the data for the quantitative matrix, they will be asked for clarification. Formally, a deviation report would be sent to the institution seeking the clarification. At this point, if the institution is found to be fraudulent, the data information, it will not only be debarred for the accreditation process, but it will also be dealt with legally. So there is a note, an important announcement for all the higher education institutes which are going for the assessment and accreditation process, that we have to be very, very clear, absolutely truthful in uploading the data. No fraudulent practices is tolerated. There is a no tolerant policy for NAC. If you are found guilty in terms of feeding the wrong data, which is not substantially substantiated with the the reports or the data or the evidentiary proofs, then you will be debarred completely from the process of accreditation. Not only this, you will also have to face the music as far as the legality part is concerned. Now let us see the DVV process in detail. Let us have a look on this. The DVV points out the deviations. If there are deviations, a report is sent to the institution. The institution submits the clarification within whatever time span it is mentioned. After the data is sent, you need to update the information, and then the deviation report is sent to the NAC back. So finally, the DVV response submitted onto the NAC. So all this process has to be in sequence and in detail. The DVV template is being given by NAC, and you need to substantiate your concerns, your deviations within the stipulated time which the DVV reports asked you to submit. Now you need to proceed to the data validation and verification process. It is to be noted that there is no fixed timeline for the entire DVV process. However, during the DVV clarification stage, the institutions are expected to respond with the clarity within the stipulated time period set by the DVV team. As a final step, NAC will reassess the submitted data, and depending on the extent of the deviation, and arrive at a pre-qualifier score. The minimum pre-qualifier score, that is to qualify the SSR, is 30%. The institution that secure a minimum of 30% pre-qualifier score based on the quantitative matrix will only qualify for on-site peer review assessment. Those with less than 30% have to reapply for accreditation and assessment process through IIQA, that is Institutional Information Quality Assurance. This means they have to pay everything afresh from the start and pay all the fees all over again, but on one condition, that they would be eligible to apply after 6 months from the date of declaration about the pre-qualification in which they were declared disqualified. Therefore, based on the DVV score, the NAC team would decide on any of the following: the dates of the peer team visit, the deferring of the peer team visit, the disqualifying the institution from having a peer team visit. The pre-qualifier scores at this level, they don't include the student satisfaction survey, that is, in short we call it as SSS. As a part of the peer team visit, that is the PTV management process, the committee declares the date of the visit along with the team to visit the institution within 3 weeks of receiving the self-study report. The next is your preparedness towards the student satisfaction survey. This process happens simultaneously along with DVV process. Complete the submission of the student data is done during the online submission of SSR. The student groups are one of the important stakeholders in the entire assessment, and the NAC knows it too. Hence, this is one of the A&A crucial process. The advisor NAC Bangalore, Mr. M. Shamasundar, is one of the recent news claimed that the student satisfaction survey has been introduced for teaching, learning and evaluation, which will be of great help to upgrade the quality of the said sector. The start date and the end date are provided so as to complete the SSS in a stipulated period of time. So, the students provided are provided with the institutional ID. A link is sent to the NAC about the detail of the student ID. The NAC on their own, a link will be sent to the students. They have to submit the link, and no student, at random the students are picked, and of course they have to give the response about the institution quality framework, so on and so forth. The students' alerts are also sent by NAC, and there is a closing of the survey and then the calculation of the student survey results. So, the National Assessment and Accreditation Process Council has endeavoured to conduct a student satisfaction survey, the results of which encompass the accreditation process. So, the SSS scores will be calculated as a part of overall CGPA. The student response are captured on the basis of the list provided by the higher education institutes. This is conducted directly to give an opportunity to the students to have their say in the quality improvement process. A link will be sent online for the survey to the email of the students provided by the institutions, and they have to fill a questionnaire on the basis of the Likert scale from 0 to 4. 0 is most unsatisfied and 4 is most satisfied. Then of course 20 out of 21 questions will be objective, and the students have to give the responses on the basis of the teaching learning process which has been followed in their institutions. A stratified random student sample is chosen for the survey, and in the sample the student group is evenly mixed across different classes, across gender and the year of enrollment. So, in order to reach the desired level of responses, the SSS initiates the maximum of 2 survey attempts based on the different requirements. So, this is the student satisfaction survey, and it plays a vital role in the quality assessment and the upgradation of the standards of the higher education institutes in accreditation and assessment process initiated by NAC.